this really goes back, I think, to it being what you're feeling. The experience has created this emotional chaos in your body because your brain is setting off this alarm telling you that now you're in danger with this person who you thought you trusted for your entire relationship. They've hurt you in a way that you've never imagined possible, perhaps have never even experienced this feeling. And the amygdala in your brain is sounding this alarm, telling you to do something. And a lot of times we see that this comes out either in anger, in sadness, there are people who become just catatonic. There's no right or wrong with any of these things, because what you're experiencing truly is physical. There's something in you. And sometimes you might physically shake because you just don't know what to do. And your brain is trying to assimilate, is trying to draw from what it already knows from your past experiences, how to handle this situation. But a lot of times it's just spinning because it doesn't know how to handle this because we've never been in this situation before. And so it just is one of those things that a lot of women feel numb. Partners, I shouldn't just say women, partners who have experienced betrayal, both men and women, they might feel numb. They might want to immediately leave the house, leave everything, go to a safe place. It's really hard to even say this is what it will feel like, but all of the things could happen.
Mm-hmm. And what we hear a lot from spouses is the way in which it triggers that fear or the worst case scenario of what else don't I know? What else is going on? Mm-hmm. I know that was what my wife often shared, was that feeling of, well, if you didn't tell me this, then what else aren't you telling me? And I think that's where many spouses kind of go into that investigation mode of like, I need to know what I'm actually dealing with. And I maybe caught you or discovered something on your phone. And then there's all these other questions that come with it that's anxiety producing, that's fearful, that's worrisome. And then what our brains so often do, and part of this is the brilliance of God's design, because God designed our brain to protect us, to keep us safe, to keep us alive. What our brain will do then is play out all the worst case scenarios, like, well, if this is true, then this might happen and that could happen. And if there's a divorce, and what about the kids, and what about, we're just, even if we don't want to, we're playing out all those scenarios, partly because it's our brain's effort to then plan and manage what could happen. But that's very debilitating when all those thoughts are coming in. And what I hear from so many people, they don't try to think that way. It's just like, that's my reality now. And if we know that, okay, this is what people experience, and there are the groups and methods and counselors that understand this and can help me process through all the different options and what do I need to know, what don't I need to know, those are really helpful things. Why we say, get support, because you are walking through something that, as you said, Heather, your brain truly is not designed to know ahead of time how to handle. Mm-hmm. And so when you're in that, to go to people that say, okay, I've walked this road, or I've had the training to do this and understand what are some things you could begin to do, that becomes so helpful at a time when we often just don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With it being such an intimate relationship that you're experiencing pain and betrayal in, I just always got a picture of like trying to seek safety and not being able to find it, like those really intense action movies where they just keep trying to like look for safety and there's explosions and bombs. Like that's how I felt afterward, because John was my person to go to with everything, like rough day at work, rough day with the kids, wrestling with a spiritual concept, trouble with family, or like anything I needed to work out and problem solve was done with John. And so then to have that taken away, or that be the source of pain, I just felt like a chicken with my head cut off, like trying to figure out, well, where do I go for that stabilization and safety that I always looked for in my marriage? And it makes you feel very out of control and very lost. And I think just going back to Heather's first answer of having those things in place, even for possibly a future relapse or just a future moment where it's a rough day, that you don't have to at least go back to that beginning state of not knowing where to find help, because that was pretty difficult. Mm-hmm. And help has gotten more available. But when I was looking for help, it was like I was in bookstores, looking at each spine on the book and saying, okay, is this for me? Is this for me? Because it wasn't like it was now where you can go online and look for podcast and that kind of thing. And so just making those steps to stability and safety as easy and smooth as possible so that you don't have to think of it when you're hurting so badly.
Mm-hmm.